purchasing this video cassette, and hopefully I'll be able to teach you something that will not only increase your time, shorten your time to do your jobs, but also maybe give you a better job. What I'd like to do is teach you how to size rings on a conventional method known as fuse sizing. It eliminates the need for cutting little pieces and rolling your own stock, and it creates a stronger bond using no solders, no porosity, generally no porosity comes out of it. And this tape is pretty much going to be off the cuff as we go, as I demonstrate things. I'll show you different things and you can make note of that. So let's get started right away. First of all, I'd like to show you the basic tools that we need for this operation. Now if we get some down here. Okay. First of all, I would like to show you the hammer that we use. This is a German hammer, and I do recommend buying German high quality tools for every tool that you buy. They last longer and they are high quality. This is a flat head on one side, and it has a chisel on the other side. Chisel point on the other side. Not too sharp, don't chisel. That's the basic hammer we use. Of course, you will need your rawhide hammer. These are pliers, English pliers, side cutters. All these tools are available through the your local jewelry suppliers. Heavy duty side cutting pliers. Ring bending plier has a half round on one side and a flat on the other side. A compass, sharp pointed. This is a ring tool gauge. These on the bottom here for individual sizes. Very handy. Ring manual, of course. If you are able to find a manual that has the indications for the ring sizings on the side, that's very good right there. A half round file, ring file, and I believe this is a #1 cut. Again, these are fine quality files, they last longer. Then we have your flat round, or your flat ring file. This is we use a #1 or a #2. A little bit heavier cut, that way we remove more metal faster. Ring burr, inside ring burr. Very heavy course on there. You can get this is the thin one. You can also buy the fatter one if it's available. I like the fatter one, but at the time they didn't have one, so I got this. You will need to make yourself an inside ring sanding stick, or inside ring sander. Basically that is made from, this is the shaft, and it has a little slit in the side to wrap your sandpaper in. I'll show you how to make that. And you will also need a sanding stick, which I will show you briefly on how to make those. The stock that we use for sizing is, we roll it ourselves on our mill, 14 karat gold, and it's square stock, approximately 1 millimeter square. That is pretty much the tools you will use. Quickly, I will show you, this tape is kind of based for beginners and advanced, and I'd like to show you because as I learned, nobody taught me these things. What I use from all my sanding is 320 sandpaper. Okay, now what we want to do is we're going to show you how to make a sanding stick the way we learned it. First of all, line it up there. Now, take the back of a razor blade, razor edge, and score lightly right along the edge. Careful not to go all the way through. After we scored, fold it and score the next edge very lightly. The reason we do this is to give it a nice, sharp, crisp edge on all 4 sides of the sanding stick, because once you start doing this, if your sanding stick is not tight, it has a tendency to rip. It can be frustrating. So I'm going to score one more time there. And one more time. Score. Let's see if I got that there. And one more time. nice crisp edge. Working on a white sheet of paper here so you can, hopefully you'll see this. Now you've got one completely all the way around, overlapped slightly. Now you may score hard. And there. Now you have it all the way around. We take some glue, could be Elmer's glue, or I use this stick glue right here. Go down the edge, the one edge here. Fold it over, make it tight. Now if you have a little few weights you can put on there to glue. Hold the glue down a little bit. You do want this tight, and you'll understand after you rip a few of them. Now we'll put that off to the side. And real quickly here, I will show you how to make the ring, inside ring sanding burr. There is a notch in here. Basically, we cut a little spot to fit the notch. We have cut a piece of sanding paper 320 grit. I cut a little notch in there, so this will slide right into that notch right there. Wind it the way your flex shaft turns. I basically wind it quickly like this to get it all wound up, first of all. Then I'll let it go if I want, and I'll wind it, and make sure it's all flat on the edges. Now after you get it all uniform and squared, take your ring, take a flat, and roll it tightly, and it will tighten up. It will get very hard. 2 or 3 quick rolls like this. There you go. Now we will put a little dab of glue right on the corner, bottom corner, and roll that up, so that way you haven't glued all the way around it. That way, as this wears, you can peel it back and it becomes a fresh piece every time. This we just put in a little clamp, hold it to the glue dress. Now we'll go back into the shop here, and we will show you some of the, we will get right down to the sizing then. Okay? Okay, now we're in the shop here at the bench. There's a couple other things that I want to show you and the tools that are on the bench here. First of all, we start with the torch. I use an oxyacetylene with a number 4 tip on there, a 4 or a 5. I have actually drilled this out a little bit for my needs. Oxyacetylene, it's a mini torch. This is the torch lighter. I find it very handy, called a Torch Mate electric lighter. If you buy one of these, you probably have to weld it out. I did weld that out myself so I can fit my torch easier in there. The other thing that we need is essential is the carbon ring stick. This is all carbon, and again, all these tools are available through your local supplier. And I think last will be the bench pin. What I want to show you some modifications on the bench pin to help you, and I'll show you how to do it. Right here you'll notice I have a ledge on there, and I actually have to cut it down a little bit. Take your file, the smooth side, make sure this edge is nice and straight. And you'll see in a while, straight edge. So we got a fresh new edge there. Okay. Here, ground away this way to hold the ring a little bit. And if you notice what this is, it's a little well right there that I've welded out into the wood and filled it up with my wax lubricant. Okay, this is a method again that I learned in the factory from a master jeweler. Carlito Puzon was his name. And just to show you, these are just some normal jobs that we work on daily basis. Most of this is commercial jewelry found in all the department stores and the jewelry chain stores. And you can size any type of ring, whether it's a commercial ring or a high quality ring. We look at the job first of all, and I'll do this one a little bit later because this one I'm saving. We have an opal cluster, size it to a size 8.5. First of all, we measure the ring, and it is a size 7. We're going up 1 1/2 sizes. So I will mark on the envelope 1 1/2 size, so that way the accounting department will be able to know exactly how much to charge for this ring. Okay, we're going up 1 1/2 sizes. We take our heavy duty plier, cut it in the middle. Now, open it up, push it up to a size 8 1/2. Actually, we go a little bit less than an 8 1/2. We go about an 8 1/4, approximately 1/4 less than the actual size that you will need. And there you have about 8 1/4. Looking at the ring. Now, dip it in your boric acid and alcohol. It's about not quite a 50-50 mixture. Now, you can protect the stones in the beginning if you want. Sometimes I just dip it in the water. Stone, and then put it onto your carbon stick. Take your gold rod, boric acid on it a little bit. I'll turn the light off. This will be kind of hard to see, so I hope you can see it. Get your torch with a nice sharp tip on it. You want a nice tip, you don't want a bushy broad flame. We are welding. Concentrate your flame on the rod, where the rod and the ring meet. And you're going to melt that together, and this has to be a fast operation. There's not time for dilly-dallying because you can burn the stones or whatever. So here we go, I'll show you how quick it is. There, it's melting, melting, melting. I'm filling, and it's done. Now, take the ring off. And normally I will quench it back in the water. That one is done. Now I'll turn the light back on and we'll show you how we finish this. Okay. This handpiece right here is the flex shaft is a quick release flex shaft. I recommend this. You pull this trigger back and your burrs come in and out. So right now I have put the inside ring burr on the flex shaft, and you see the little bulge right there. We'll grind this out right there. Hope you can see that. We'll grind that smooth. Basically, you're at a point where it's almost like finishing off any of the ring. Now, put it on the ring mandrel. We have to go to 8 1/2. Slightly tap the edges, making sure that the ring is not hollow before you start tapping this. Now, you take your hammer that has the chisel point. We use the chisel point going this way against the ring. That way the metal is drawn across. If we were to take the flat hammer and hit it this way, it would just spread it all direction. We want the ring bigger, so we hit it this way. Hit that lump. Turn the ring over. Now we're down there close. Now we can hit it with the flat. Plant it to the edge a little bit, smooth it up, make less filing for you. Now it is up to size 8 1/2 right now. We take our file again. If you see blue on there, this blue is chalk. I put chalk on there to keep the metal from sticking a lot in there. Okay, so. Now, you see the edge that we cut on here, perfect flat edge. I put the ring against there. This way I can apply my pressure as I file, and it's less stressful on my fingers. Just file it until they meet. The old and the new meet. Okay? File the top now. File the piece that you put in, the fused part, just file that until it meets with the ring, the original part of the ring itself. Take your sanding stick, sand it down flat on the edges, dust off, file to take your inside ring sander and sand it down the inside. Occasionally, you might want to take your inside ring file and just hit the edge a little bit like that if it needs to be blended more. There you have your ring sizing. Fuse sizing, no solder, all metal, ready for polishing. That's the first one. Now, what I will do a few more jobs to show you how to do it, and I'll do it up to speed. That way you can see how fast it is done. In the meantime, I will explain what I'm doing. So, okay, now I'm going to do a couple jobs for you just to show you how fast it really can be. I can do this on any ring. This is a white gold. It works on white gold, yellow gold, 18 karat, 10 karat, what have you. Again, look at your envelope. This one has to go to a size 13. We measure it. It's a size 11. Up 2 sizes. Mark your envelope 2 sizes up. Cut it in the middle. Cut it in the middle. I get my other mandrel out. It's going for size 13. That's 2 sizes on a man's ring. And that's a nice chunk. Tap it down, make sure it's all round. There. I dip it in my boric acid and set it there and get ready for my next one. Next one. Size to a 5.5. Emerald, sapphire, ruby. It's a little bit wider band. This is going down. We're going down a size and a half. Take your caliper, take it about a size and 3/4. Mark it if you need to. After a while, you'll just know where they are. Cut it a little bit shy of the line. Save that piece of gold. Take the ring bending plier. Now, put the inside curve closest to the stones. Bend with the plier. Do not bend the ring too much or the stones can fall out. And this is, if you bend it right there that way, you will not bend the top of the ring. So you'll have less chance for the stones to fall out. Nowadays, the rings are made all in commercial quality, so you have a lot of problems with poor workmanship, poor quality coming straight from the factories. So we always have to be careful with that. We're down to our size, so a little bit, about a 1/4 size shy of where we want to be. Dip it in the boric acid. Have the next one. Pearl ring. Okay, it's a thin band. Very easy to do. 1 pearl. This one has to go to a size 5. One and 1/2 size down. I already know approximately, so I don't have to measure. Save the piece of gold. Again, bend the ring from the sides, not the top down. Make sure the ring is straight. And we're going to a size 5. And there we have just a little bit more. This will take us to the size 5, slightly under size 5 once again. Because by the time we put the gold in and hammer, we'll be back up to size. Dip it. The other thing I want to say also about your bench is to keep your bench pan clean. If you drop a stone or you get a lot of gold dust in there, it just wastes your gold, or if you drop something in there you can't find it. So I only keep the tools that I'm using immediately in my bench pan. Last one I will show you. Tanzanite. Size it to a 6. 2 trillion tanzanites. A thin band, an easy one to do. Okay? Size it to a 6. I'm going to take it down 1 size. I even like to do this on my downsizings because this way I know I have a good strong joint there with no porosities. And there we are, size 6. Slightly under once again. Dip it in your boric acid, alcohol, set it off to the side. Now, we will start the size. I generally, when I have pearls and fancy stones, I like to use those first, size those first. So we'll go with the pearl. That way this gets hot and I don't want to heat the stone unnecessarily. I dip it in water just so the alcohol does not flame the pearl. I grab my sizing stock, 1 millimeter square, my torch. I'll try and get this for you. Again, concentrate the heat where the two meet, right there. And you have to learn how to adjust your flame accordingly. Thinner band, smaller flame, wide band, it takes more heat. You'll get that with much experience. And that one is done. Quench it off quickly. There. Tanzanite. Quench it in water a little bit. Again, adjust my heat on my flame. It's kind of hard to see this, but you have to get the concept. We need a sharp flame there. Sharp, pointy flame. That is done. I'm going to try and speed up the process so you can actually see how fast we go. This is a wider shank. In this case, you would have to have a wider piece. You don't always have these wide pieces laying around. So what I do on this one is going to be hard to see, but I will explain. I'll do a little bit on the edge right there, and then I'll rotate this and do the other top edge. And again, this has to be done fast. There's an emerald in there. You don't know what could be in there. Anything. It's all the same way. Hot heat, fast. Hot heat, quickly, quickly. Turn it, turn it, turn it. Turn off quickly. Quenched. There's another one done. Now for the Fiesta Resistance white gold. Some say it can't be done. I say it can. I can also do this with platinum too. Again, we're going to fill up one side and then we're going to turn it over and fill the other side. So here we go. Can you see this, Bob? Mm-hmm. Okay, we're going to drag it across there. Just like a welding rod. See that? How we filled that gap right there? Now we're going to fill this side. I can do this on any width band, and you can do it too, any width band. Now we're just filling this little hole a little bit. And there. Now I will show you, sometimes, quench it. And again, quenching the diamond does not hurt the diamond. Sometimes you may have a little shy spot, like right there, where it didn't quite fill the whole gap. Okay, right in there, up the top, it didn't quite come to the edge, so keep the camera there, Bob. I'll dip it again, and now I will put this right there in my ring. Now I will take this and I'll fill a little gap right there. I'll build a little more build up there. Hope you can see it once again. Flame is hot and we're only going on the one edge there. Just on the edge. And there it is. Those are done. Now, we quench it, we take them to the ultrasonic and break off any scale that's on there. And then we're ready for filing. Okay, we're back here. Now I take my inside ring burr. Okay, since I'm doing it in a production, I usually have 10 rings at a time, but for the tape, I'm only put out 4 or 5 at a time. Keep it in a production mode. Grind all the insides first. Smooth it down. If you want to dip in there and get a little bit of lubricant, you can. The next one, Tanzanite. Grind it down. The next one, white gold, size 13, diamond. Grind it down. Keep your bench pan out, so that way you're catching all your gold dust. And the last one is the emerald, ruby, sapphire, wider band ring. Okay, switch burrs, bits, whatever, to the sanding, inside ring sanding. In your envelope, what do we have? Tanzanite, size 6. Put on the mandrel. Square it off a little bit. First, make sure it's roundish. Now, take your hammer. Again, with the pointed side. 6. Basically, it's the same as finishing any other ring. Flat side, flanishes it down a little bit so there's less filing. And flat file number 2 up against the edge. File till they meet. File to the top. When you do the top, there's a flat edge on your file. Put that against bench pin so you're not grinding your bench pin away. Spread that out until they meet, flush. Sanding stick. Sand both edges. Nice and flat. The outside. Blending it nicely. Inside ring. Sanding. Double check your work. It looks nice. These rings nowadays, there's no uniformity to the bands. They'll be thick on one spot, thin on another, so you try and make it look the best you can. Check your stones. Tight, 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 tight. And there we have the tanzanite. Done. Next ring. Pearl ring. Check your pearl. Is it tight? Yes. Size 5. Tap it around a little bit. Make sure that it's all around. Push it down nicely. Again, take your bit. Make sure your ring is straight. Double check it. Size 5 all day. The edge. File. Turn over. File so they just meet again. What a new piece you put in and an old ring just meet perfect. Perfect. File the back, bottom side, blend it. Sanding stick, turn it over, sanding stick, outside. Inside sander. Double check your work. Ready for lapping and polishing. Next ring. 3-stone band. Size it to 5.5. Tap the edges. Make sure they're square. Turn it over. Tap it. Make sure it's square. This one is already 5.5. You can file it this way. Sometimes the ring shape does not allow you to do it that easy. So I turn it on this way. Flat side down. And I just file that until they meet. File out of the side. Until the edges meet. File the top or the bottom. Use a nice file, number 2 file, number 1 cut. That way you can cut the metal faster. You're not wasting your time. Now when I file, I put the pressure on the forward stroke and I lay off the backward stroke. That way you don't wear your file out. Sanding paper. Sand the other side. Bottom side. Get nice, makes it look a nice round, even edges. I have to straighten them out a little bit better yourself because the manufacturer did do a good job inside the ring. You can do it this way. Some people also go on the outside like that. However you like to do it. And then the last one that I will show you is our white gold ring, size 13. Okay, we fused it already. We're up to about size 12.5 now. Double check your tap it. Point it edge again. Now flash it. One more time to check it. Around. Up against the edge and file. See how easy that comes off with the nice files. Always buy good, the best tools you can buy. File it down to the edge meets. Perfect. Bottom. Sandpaper. And then on the sides. Bottom nicely. Look at the ring, make sure everything looks nice and uniform. Inside sanding. Your stone. They're all tight, and then it's done. All ready for sanding. You're learning, we're able to see some of that. Again, this tape was made to show you how to fuse size rings. It takes quite a bit of practice. You can also half shank a ring or thicken the quarter shank it by adding more gold onto it by fuse sizing like that. Always keep your bench tray clean, sweep your gold sweeps and keep those off to one side, and whenever you clip out a piece of gold, keep that in another piece container so you can keep those separate. I keep the white gold separate from the yellow gold. And you know, if this gets to be too many little gold pieces or all that hectic gold dust all everywhere, you can just send it to me if you like, okay? Again, my name is Pat Schmidt. My telephone number is 630-801-1728. And we have much time left on this tape. We might show you a few other things here. And once again, I hope you learn, and I thank you. Okay, we're back again. After reviewing the tape last night, as again I said, this is kind of off the cuff. There was one spot that was out of focus, but everything else came in good. I want to thank our cameraman, Bob Campbell. Did an excellent job, I feel. There's a couple of spots that I wanted to go over that I felt that I missed briefly. When I was quenching the ring, after I heated it, I wasn't dipping the whole ring. I was primarily just dipping, quenching the spot, the half of the shank where I had done my work. So I don't want you to think I just quenched the stones and everything. The stones will get warm sometimes if you take your time. They'll get warm, so you may want to let them cool down a little bit before the quenching. I said, also I mentioned that quenching the diamonds won't hurt it. I really have never hurt a diamond by quenching it, although I never get them that hot. If I do feel they're exceptionally hot, I won't quench them when they're hot like that. From this, also I didn't. We don't use a saw. I use my English side cutter pliers mostly. If you ever have a need, the ring is extra thick or wide, and you feel that you want to saw the ring instead of cutting it, go ahead and do it that way. Primarily, we're trying to show you a faster way to do this job. Sometimes on some of the rings you may have to anneal them because, especially on the white gold, they're stiff and brittle, so you may have to anneal them. Be careful with the stones. You have to anneal them so you can open them up and stretch them out. Be careful with the stones so you don't burn them, of course. A lot of white gold is especially hard, very hard like that, so you may have to anneal that. As far as protecting your stones with any of this stone heat shield and things like that, I really don't use it too often. Use your own judgment, you know, because you're basically the one that has to replace the stones if you burn them. Maybe you might want to try it in the beginning, but I know that does get kind of messy, and you get that stuff all over the place on your garment stick, and you probably have a hard time actually doing your welding operation. The whole point of this tape was to learn the concept of fuse sizing. Try and control your welding. You know, try not just to blob it. You're not trying to blob gold on the ring. You try to have as little gold as possible on there, so you're not really filing and wasting. You have to practice a lot because the chances are that you're going to melt some shanks when you're trying to solder or fuse these together on upsizes, especially when you're trying to go 2 or 3 sizes. You may melt the shanks, and in the beginning, very frustrating. You might have to go back to the old conventional, cut your part out, and go back to the old conventional sizing to get through the job. But I recommend that you keep practicing because once you learn this technique, you probably won't go back to the other technique. The old technique, of course, is having all the different size stocks and rolling them out, pouring your metals, rolling them out, whatever the case may be. This way is just one simple process, and it's a lot faster. If you don't have a roller, maybe you might have someone who knows that has a rolling machine. In that case, use your rolling. Ask them if you can use the roller, and they'll give you, for a slight fee, they'll do the rolling for you. What I liked also, the sanding stick was primarily a sanding stick that I had purchased from one of the local tool suppliers, and had worn off, and so that's what we're making our sanding sticks from. I will now try and show you a way you don't have a roller and you don't have agate molds and things like that. I'm going to try and show you a way that you can actually make yourself a little piece of stock to start out with. Okay, now we'll get ready to go back into the shop. How to make a piece of sizing stock relatively, hopefully it'll go smooth. Takes practice. I haven't done it for a while because I don't have to do it this way anymore. Have a nice poker, there, steel, and my torch. First I have my 14 karat gold scrap chips, it's all 14 karat because I've been sanding it. I will melt that down into a puddle, first of all. Nice flame. Melt it, keep it all, force it all together there into a nice little lump of gold. And I don't have any spring rings or jump rings in there, solders. And I can pick it up and quench it as soon as the red goes down a little bit. I'm using an old, soft heating pad there, so that way not ruining my good ones. For that to cool down. And I can quench it in the water, dip it in the boric acid, put it back on there. Now I will heat it up and attach this corner to my poker. It's a heavy poker. Now that it's hot, and then it's stuck to it, as you can see. Now we'll heat the ball and we'll try and pull that. We may not have any luck. We'll try and spread it out. Pull it. See that? Oh, it's growing. Now, I'll cool it a little bit. I can blow my oxygen on there if I want to cool it down a little quicker, which I like to do. Quench it. Boric acid. Now, I'll heat the middle a little bit, stretch it out from the middle, and work my way up towards my soldering rod. I'll move it over here a little bit. As soon as that gets to melt, I pull a little bit, release some of that heat. It might be hard, this is very bright. If you want to wear glasses, wear glasses. But it becomes a matter of you just pulling that across there with your hot flame. Now we have it over there. Cool it off a little bit, quench it. Boric acid. Now I will disconnect my tip here. And you're not melting any metal into it. No steel is going in there. Attach it over here now, because there is steel melts at a higher temperature than gold. Now I'll pull this out a little bit. Keep pulling. Pull it. Oh, it's bright. And you have to play with it a little bit. Keep pulling a bit. I'm going to quench it. And now here comes the part where it becomes fun. Now I'll put this in my tweezer. And I will make that grow. And this is just something you can play with again on your own time. I'm just showing you basic how to do it. And it does take time. Now there, okay, a little thin, too thin for me, so I just disconnect it, my heat. Disconnect it, reattach it. Try to get over here, make sure you see it on film. Reattach it, there. Reattached. Now I stretch it out some more. I won't do too much of this, but I will show you how it's done. I stretch it. I stretch it out more. Condense my flame, tighten my flame up. A little more heat. And keep pulling. Just have fun with it. And you know, you can try to make it as thin as you want. I'll just go to the end here, and then I'll show you. Again, I don't want to take a lot of time on this, but as you can see, we took that piece. Just for fun, I'm going to cut it off here. We'll go a little bit thinner if you want. I know it looks funny, but it will work. If you take it down a little bit thinner, let me turn the light on. If you take it down a little bit thinner, just keep working it and working it. Pretty soon you'll have a piece of sizing stock to work with. That's a little too fat there, but get it down, you know, as low as you can. If you want to hammer it, or if you have a rolling machine and you maybe your friend and you just want to roll that through there, make a nice wire like that. Or you can use it like that, make it a little bit better. Maybe we'll tap it. You just tap it out a little bit. And I don't know if you see that. More, and I would make it a little thinner. Again, you may not have the right sizing stock. This is what this is all for. Fast production when you're working on piecework and you want each job is money. That's why I use the fusing technique. Now I'll take the last few remaining minutes and I will show you briefly how to lap finish a ring. Here we are in the polishing room. I want to show you a quick polishing setup that I made. I can't afford to buy the big blower motors and polish dusters and all that, so this system I made. Simply, it's a box that we made, again, out of plywood, and inside of the box I have a heavy-duty shop vac, quiet model, runs quietly, and from there we have our hosing that came with it. We run it out up into PVC piping here, and I run that to my polishing motor. Now what I want to show you is my lap. We hook it into the lap motor. This is a homemade lap that was given to me, and I hate to throw anything out that works. So I don't need to buy an expensive lap, although I would like to have one too, but like I say, I like to use what I have, okay? I'm going to show you how to use the lap a little bit. We'll pause the tape here and we'll zoom in a little bit and show you how to work it, okay? Okay, this is the lap. It's a close-up of the lap wheel. This is a rock-hard, flint-hard lap, and it has a bevel on the bottom side. Usually they show the lap turns this way and clockwise. Usually the arrow shows it to go the other way. But in all the factories I've been in, they use the 45 degree or the angled side on the bottom. We keep that clean with sanding papers. If you have a heavy coarse sanding paper, turn your wheel on and clean the bottom so you don't have an excess of buildup of rouge and gold dust. We like to spray paint the top flat black so you don't have any shine reflection, and these slits are in here so you can actually see the work underneath as it is spinning, kind of a strobe effect, and you can watch exactly the cut you're doing. for our process here, I'm only going to show how to do the edges of the ring. This can do laps, come in soft, medium, hard, extra hard, flint hard, rock hard, etc. Those for other purposes. We're just going to show you how to clean the edge of the ring, make it nice, crisp, and flat for your polishing. And the rings, after you fuse size them, the polishings, it will look like they were came straight from the manufacturer. Normally what we do, we polish the outside of the ring first, so we don't wear off the lap lines once we put the line down. So we polish it with the triple E's and do the outside first. I have a little thin piece of rubber. I put this down to protect my fingers. This gets very hot. It will burn your hands. So this, you have to hold on to this. Basic principle is we're going to start here at the shank and we're going to polish and take it all the way across to one side, and we'll come back from the other side and meet it in the middle. I like to have a little tilt on the angle on this, not perfectly flat, but a little tilt down. I'll show you how this is done. Turn the machine on. Put a little bit of your gray star on here that we use. I start at the top here, and I don't know, can you see this? Zoom in on the top. All the way edge, and come back into this edge. Now try and blend it. So they're very flat. You see that? Do it again. Try it right there, leave it there. Start this edge. Bring it towards the middle. Come back to the other edge. Press hard. Press hard and you have a nice flat edge. Put your little angle on there. That is done. I'll show you one more. This is something you should practice to get that hand motion down. Start here with the high on the shoulder. Starting right there, bringing it around, and I'm starting on the other side and bringing it around. And hopefully they will both meet in the middle. I bring it around 3/4 approximately. Now I come back on this side. Go up here on that shoulder. A little bit more polish. Bring it down. Where they meet. Blend it. To the other side. In that crevice. Bring it around to the middle, 3/4 away approximately. Make it nice and smooth. Start up here because it has a high shoulder. We reach that easily. A little more. Don't overflood your wheels with that rouge. And you can see underneath how the progression is. And there you have a nice flat edge. From there, we will go polish the inside of the ring, ultrasonic it to get all the triple E rouge off there, and then we will high polish it. Those are all things that you know how to do already. Okay, I'd like to thank our cameraman, Bob Campbell, for helping out. We did some pretty good shots, I think, there for our first one. Again, this process, I hope you learned something from it. It's primarily geared for the jeweler who does piecework, has a high volume of sizings to do. You get paid, piecework by the piece, so the faster you knock these jobs out, the more you make. Also, you're not messing around with little chips and inserting rolling sizing stock, buying sizing stock, one shot, one time. You make your sizing stick and rod, go for it there. The lap machine, we just showed you basically how to do the edges only. There's a lot more to do to the lap that you can do with the lap. We're just showing you how to make your edges real nice and real crisp and clean. If you have any questions about this, or I'm available for any private instruction, my name is Pat Schmidt, 630-801-1728. And this is our first video. It was kind of off the cuff. Stay tuned for our future videos on different subjects. We'll try and show you how to do your work a little bit